Are we recording?
We are.
Okay, great. What a way to kick off.
Really
Little informal start to this one.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillian. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
and your trusty producer,
Riley Bray.
And today we got a treat for you guys. We've got not one, but two Kirks in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, it's two of your favorite all-time guests together for the first time ever. With us today is Kevin Kirkpatrick.
Yes, hey, hi.
And Jen Kirkman.
Yes, hey, hi.
It's the two Captain Kirks.
That's right. Putting them together.
Are you guys related?
Yeah,
Cool.
you can tell, right?
You're cousins?
We were married. No, we were married when we were 14, and
Yeah,
then
it
we
was
both
legal.
kept a piece of the married
Exactly.
A
name.
piece of the
Yeah.
surname.
Well, we found out we were related, so we're like, we can't stay married.
no.
So we were like, we've been legally related and also familially related.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did I ever tell you about the time I accidentally dated my cousin in Iowa?
No.
I feel like everyone in Iowa has
Let's do
that
that
story.
right now.
Let's do that right now.
How did you accidentally... First of all, what were you doing in Iowa?
Well, I moved there after high school,
Oh,
and,
right.
and so I was taking a acting 101 class at the community college. It was the only class I was taking. And so a light load. But there was this cute blonde girl in there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to ask her out on a date, and so I did, and we went on a date, and then I told my mom about it. I was like, yeah, Chrissy Ronfeld. And she's like, Ronfeld? Those are your cousins. I was like, what? I was like, she's like, yeah, from your mother from this side and that side. And I was like, fucking Iowa.
Well,
I'm getting out of here.
You could be
kiss?
that closely related.
Did you kiss her?
I don't think we kissed. No,
thank
so
God.
I
Well,
know.
that's fine.
Yeah, kissing
I
cousins.
think it's fine.
We might
Isn't
have.
like marrying your cousin legal in most states?
I think
Not your first cousin.
I think so. I'm gonna Google it.
I'm gonna Google it. But it happens. That stuff happens.
Anybody else accidentally date a relative in this room?
Nope, just
No.
me.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I so wanted your story to be like, oh, I went to Iowa to live with my aunt, and there was this girl across the hall.
Right.
Our bedroom was just anyway.
Anyway, it seemed
Super
convenient
cute.
enough.
Yeah,
So
I just remember
I'm a-
thinking, oh, great.
I'm a man of opportunity.
It does
so-
make sense. So I've read somewhere that people are attracted to people that have like a similar face.
Yeah.
So you were just attracted to your own genetics.
Yeah. I
narcissist.
might buy that. Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're a
Yeah.
narcissist, I like a very different face than mine.
Yeah, I would really appreciate it if they not look like this fucking face.
Oh boy.
You do. Your type is not at all your
No.
type at all.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying.
No.
No.
For those listening, I have aquiline features. And my preference would be for just a whole lot of meaty nose and face.
Yeah. Right.
All right, here we go, guys.
Meaty nose.
Cousin marriage law in the United States by state. First cousin marriage is allowed in Alabama, in Alaska, in California,
Really?
Colorado, Connecticut, DC, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii. In Illinois, only if both parties are 50 or older or one is infertile.
Okay.
Right.
Whoa.
That's what I was going to say. You're not allowed to have kids, though, right?
In Illinois, you're not.
That's good.
Indiana, it's legal only if both parties are 65 or older. First of all, who are these lonely old
don't
people
know.
hooking up with their cousins?
Iowa's not looking so bad though. It didn't make the list. So
Maine, proof of genetic counseling from a genetic counselor. That's all
Right.
it says under there. I mean, if I'm not listing it, it's no. Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, but only certain types. I don't
Wow.
understand what that means. New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, yes, except in the rare case of double first cousins.
ooh.
You can't get... Wait, how would a double first cousin would basically be like your twin, wouldn't it? Or like
I don't
your
know.
sibling? Genetically, they would just be like a sibling.
Perhaps.
If they're first, that means that, oh man, I can't do the math on
Yeah,
that one. I know
no.
someone at home can figure it out. Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, only if 65 or older, or both are 55 or older, with a district court finding of infertility in either party. Vermont and Virginia, And finally, with Wisconsin, only if the woman is at least 55 or either is permanently sterile.
Okay, great.
Aren't you at 55 anyway?
What? Well,
Aren't you
no.
infertile?
I mean-
people are having babies at 55 now.
Yeah.
Ladies are carrying children at 55.
Mm-hmm.
But not like naturally.
Yeah, I don't know.
IVF
That
sounds-
seems up there.
Well, and I wanted
Guess
to
I got to
look-
get back on the Google.
oh, no,
I wanted to
you're
look
good.
up my thing. Genetic sexual attraction is a theorized concept in which a strong sexual attraction may develop between close blood relatives who meet as adults, but it's being criticized as pseudoscience. And a more scientific article says genetics play a role in who you're attracted to. It's usually opposites attract, and it's determined by your immune system. So there you
That
go.
sounds like it was written by a scientist who wants to make out with his sister.
We'll accept this whole show's pseudoscience, so we'll take it.
There you
I
go.
don't even think it's
I'm not
science.
even
I think it's
I'm not
just
sure we get
pseudo.
that
Yeah,
This
pretty
whole-
much.
This is a pseudo podcast. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! How was everybody's Thanksgiving
Wait,
break?
why did we talk about that?
Because it's
far.
weird.
We're working on a spin-off
Yeah.
Yeah,
podcast.
it's
Oh,
weird.
Can
I don't
you
want to
marry
leave
your
that all
cousin?
behind. I was ready to give my
No, we're-
2 cents
that's in
on
the-
Oh,
incest.
let's
That's in the
go. All
rearview
right,
mirror.
give it to me.
Okay, I was just talking about this on Thanksgiving. Someone really did bring it up at our Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah, but anyway, I think it's. I mean, I think it's bad. No, I love that. That's all I
Bold
know.
stance.
Anyway, we can move on.
I love that you got mad that I was moving on. I
Well,
wanted to move on because I looked over and you were sitting
Kevin's
there with
weighed
your.
in.
I've waited. No, I guess but I was like, well, I think it has to be frowned upon in our society and all that. But if you suddenly have that instance where everybody's an adult, no one was coerced, and they're not going to reproduce, I don't want any part of it. I don't have any, like, to me, the thought is sort of horrifying. But if I get real, like, against the rule aspect of it, if
Right.
I'm like, well, I don't know.
Well, like I said, I mean, I just listed a
I would-
billion
I would-
states that it's legal in.
Yeah, so you're not the only one feeling that way.
Yeah.
You and a few other court systems.
And there's cousins who barely know each other and stuff, I guess.
I had never met this cousin
But
in my life.
The
so-
stories are
You
creepy.
should've
Like
dated her.
there's a lesbian couple that's mother and daughter.
What?
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
weird.
saw something about them. Like they were only reunited as adults.
Oh, weird.
And I think it seems to me, I'm no psychologist, but it seems to me that it's largely probably fueled by, I don't know why it became sexual, but it's largely fueled by someone's loss of having given that baby away and that baby's loss of never knowing her mom.
Yeah.
And when they got together and they were both lesbian, not that that happens to every parent-child reunited, but that must have somehow in their case, like,
It's
just
that weird
got-
unconditional love that you should not have in
Whoa.
a romantic relationship,
Yeah.
I've read.
that needs to be a
Oh,
lifetime
that sounds
movie.
fun.
Wait, what did you just say? I'm sorry.
You should not have that kind of unconditional love in a romantic relationship. A lot of people have trouble in relationships because they think it's supposed to be like that, and it's not. So these people are fucked up.
Yeah, it's a good prognosis.
Anyway, I think that one is weird, but yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
But I understand if we got real loose about it, then people would start dating their children or something awful. So we can't.
we got to draw the line somewhere, don't we? Somewhere we
Those
got to draw
lonely
the line.
cousins who live in a small town and they're they've become widow and widower. If they want to shack up,
Well, you
and
got to
let-
think that also, like 100 years ago, you were related to everyone in your town. I
Yeah.
feel like 200
Yeah.
years ago, so a lot of cousins got married back then.
Sure.
Oh boy,
I love that it came up at Thanksgiving. But obviously
know.
somebody brought up that news story, right?
somebody, and no one would hear me out because everyone was so busy going gross, and I was like, I agree, it's gross, but but
You
I
just
don't
wanted
know.
to explain the psychology.
They're adults, and we know they're not reproducing. I'm not interested in going into their house and cuffing them and arresting them.
no,
I mean, it feels like.
But I think they need to have a conversation, and I think they do need to break up. That seems like grounds.
But they never knew each other.
It does not matter. Once you know that that's your mom, you gotta bounce.
Yeah, you can. Don't be so limited, and like you can find someone. There's
Yeah.
someone else.
There's a lot of people out there.
And if
I
there's-
mean,
You don't have to date your mom.
be fascinated by your own story by all means, but break up.
We'll hear you out on the BCC.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So if you haven't guessed, today's topic is weird cousins. We're doing an Elf Files episode where we're listening to your stories. So we've got the mailbag here. That's why Jen and Kevin are with us. But did anyone else have any Thanksgiving stuff they wanted to talk about? Any fun times?
No.
My family usually talks about the supernatural, and we didn't this year.
Oh, Jen,
wow.
I'm glad you brought this up because since you were on last, you talked to your dad his Bigfoot sighting. Oh, no, and a UFO encounter.
I know,
Will you please tell us more about this? This is
my
fascinating.
dad's always been a weird guy, and honestly, I don't believe either story. I think it's deeper stuff. I think the UFO sighting is, I'm just going to say, I think it's repressed memories of some altar boy situations. Like, I just don't think this happened. But my dad claims, and his things are always tied to a news story that happened in the same area. So in the 50s or 60s in Vermont, there was a UFO sighting. This couple saw it. Blah,
I think
blah.
Betty and Barney Hill.
Yes.
Probably.
Maybe.
I think that was it. So it was around the same time. So I bet my dad just heard this story. Blah-de-blah. This is all he says. He was driving and he lost time.
Yeah.
And he woke up on the side of the road in the car. He wasn't drunk. And the last thing he remembers is a big giant light. And that was it. He
wakes up 3 hours later on the side of the road.
He's told me this story my whole life.
Wow.
And when I asked him to elaborate on it last time I saw him a couple months ago before Thanksgiving, I go, why don't you have any more details about that? He goes, I'm 80 years old. He goes, it was 60 years ago. I go, okay. And then he's like, I have a Bigfoot story too. But same thing.
What's his Bigfoot story?
It's not, he was with his friend Larry Bunn. I told you that, which is the greatest name ever.
Yeah.
Larry Bunn.
And they were driving in upstate New York. And it was like, if you can imagine 2 lanes going opposite ways with a big median, like not a real freeway, a car on the other side of the road stopped short. So the car going towards them, but not
Sure.
in the same lane.
Casting some headlights forward.
Exactly. And they're like, oh my God, why is that car stopping so short? And then before they could see what was happening, my dad said this big hairy creature ran in front of their car and into the woods. And Larry Bunn had to slam on the brakes. I go, Dad, this is ridiculous. Like, I just didn't believe it at all. And he's like, well, that's what happened. I didn't say it was Bigfoot. I just said we didn't know what it was. And I said, okay. And I said, but it just sounds like every Bigfoot story. It's so nondescript.
Maybe it's consistent because that's what Bigfoots are like.
No, who in this lifetime has a UFO abduction story possibly and a Bigfoot sighting?
Your dad.
I mean,
Some people are magnets for the paranormal.
then he
That's
tells
right,
me
they
his
really
favorite
are.
story, which is, he tells me this every time. It's the most detailed one yet with no concrete details. My uncle was in Vietnam. His friend was somehow in the military and he got assigned to work at Area 51. And he went out for a cigarette. I don't even know if you can do that. And he was smoking, and this tarp that was over a truck blew up. Like blew off.
Sure.
You know, not like a bomb, but like the wind.
It's windy out there.
Yeah. And he looks and he sees something enjoying his cigarette. And this marshal or someone came over to him like, you didn't see anything, kid. And like, I'll kill you if you ever say anything. That kind of thing.
Threatened him directly.
My uncle asks the guy, well, what did you see? He goes, I can never tell you, but I can tell you this. We're not alone out there.
Right.
So that's the other.
How
So this is the
convenient.
type of story my dad tells. So
That's a
the
good
fact
story.
that
Yeah.
I cannot, the Bigfoot and the UFO, none of this is true.
Right.
None of it. So
Or all of it is.
Yeah, every piece of it is fact.
I will tell you one quick thing. My sister's ex-husband's brother is a pilot. He was a pilot for JetBlue. I'm sure he still is, Steven. He said he had to do one thing once that was very weird. A friend of his had to do one thing once. It was very weird. He did it. Sorry. He had to get on a plane, and
Which was his job.
which was his job. And he had to fly a bunch of people into the middle of a field, and all these like government cars picked them up. And then I don't remember if he was in the military or something. But again, I think this is my family fucking with me from a young age at Thanksgiving every year. And it's just been going on for so long, and the stories never change, that this year is the first time I didn't bring it up. Because I was like, I'm tired of all y'all's old stories.
So the stories are consistent. Their narrative stays the same. You're ignoring your families. You're on a Bigfoot podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Y'all send you to my family next year, and I'll just stay home. I'm telling you.
Special episode.
You will be
Where's your
very
family?
frustrated.
Kirkman family.
Where's your family?
In Massachusetts, outside of Boston. I'm telling you, I think my dad maybe had some trouble with a priest, and he's recycled it in his brain as being abducted by an alien.
Well, you know what Bryce would say.
Should get regressed.
You gotta go get regressed.
So that's all I have. We didn't talk about it this year.
Kevin, do you have any weird family stories? Is there any weird... What's like the family story that you guys hear about?
There's not one really.
There's no like, a panther chased me up a tree once.
Don't have any panther stories?
I, honest to God, never had any storytellers in my family until myself. I'm the first.
The first one.
Nobody ever talked about anything in their past, period.
Are you
Really?
Irish?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why probably.
Is it?
I think so. That seems very Irish. Because I'm not Irish, but I'm from Boston, and the Boston Irish thing there is like, we just don't talk.
Yeah, nobody would talk about my parents were... They didn't find their own history
Oh, wait, actually,
interesting.
that's not true. Usually Irish people are good storytellers. But the feeling of like keeping secrets is also Irish.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
I
just-
got
Yeah, I
your
don't know if
gist,
they're
Bring it
for
down
keeping
to
sure.
story.
secrets, but yeah, they just don't. So no, grandparents, nobody had any stories, and definitely no paranormal stories. I feel like everyone in my family would be a full-blown skeptic.
I feel like everyone, like Jen, I feel like if you do some digging, when you go home for Christmas, listeners, or if you're home for the holidays,
Do some digging.
do some digging. Get in your mom's closet,
Yeah.
dig through those old shoe boxes, see what secrets she's hiding. No, but go around and ask. Like, I feel like there are old stories like that your aunt or your grandma or your grandpa will have, like Jen's dad, and you got to find those stories. And then you got to tell them to us.
It's like that line in Ghostbusters. My uncle thought he was Saint Jerome. I'd call that a big yes. So great. Yeah, ask around.
You'd be surprised.
In my mom's closet, it's just boxes of newspaper clippings of all the pageants that she competed in as a child.
Oh
Really?
my God, that's amazing.
Was she a pageant
She was
queen?
a little pageant queen when she was in her teens and 20s.
Where,
Aw.
what
Fort
state is
Worth,
this?
Texas.
Oh my God, that's
Oh,
like
wow.
the place to be in a
Yeah.
pageant.
You're going to be a
Stiff
beauty queen. You better
competition
get
there.
on down to Fort Worth, Texas and do it.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Your mom is a very stunningly beautiful woman.
She loved the story of her mom dropping her off at a pageant and not staying and leaving. And then my mom called her and said, "Oh, come pick me up." And she was like, "All right." And why were you running so late? No, her mom came to pick her up and was so mad when she came out of the car. She'd ran late. My mom was like, "I won."
Oh.
Oh.
Well, get in.
Well, get
I'm
in.
sure it was.
Was she against pageants, or was she jealous because she had been in them?
No, she wasn't jealous. I think she probably just didn't have much interest in.
What if the
Oh. 'Cause
reason she was
usually her
late
daughter.
was paranormal?
Yeah.
Like a
Could've been.
UFO landed. Or what if you go through those old clippings and in the same newspaper there's like an article about something paranormal that also happened in the town?
I like
And
the way you
somehow
think,
they get-
Jen.
They're connected.
They're connected.
Oh my God! Please be a detective and figure out
Okay.
the truth behind this story.
Next time I come on this,
Yeah, there's
show,
more to that story.
We've cracked open the.
Don't be afraid to lead the story, too. Perhaps
Bigfoot
it was
beauty
something
pageant.
paranormal? Perhaps.
Paranormal pageant.
Paranormal
But Fort
pageant.
Worth, Texas, I feel like is not a very ghosty place because it's, you know what I mean?
I don't think so. I don't think they're very. They're just not very. I think we talked about that. I mean, they're just not super. They don't believe in ghosts, sort of heartily.
Yeah.
As a society would be my guess.
Right.
But
Where's
it could have been just the people I was around, my family and stuff.
Isn't Lake Worth around Fort Worth?
Oh God, I don't know.
That's where the Lake Worth monster was in 1969. I think that's around Fort Worth. It was a
Sounds like
Bigfoot-like
it would be,
cryptid that some people said had sheep-like features. We did that episode.
Oh, Lake Worth is in Fort Worth.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That would make
It's on
sense.
it's on Fossil Ridge Road.
Ooh.
Fossils are very
Fossils are
My
old.
family also
And-
never talked about lakes. So I grew up not knowing what lakes might be around us.
Right.
I feel like no one talked to you and your family. Oh, I'm sorry.
We had some clinky clink kind of meal times where no one spoke.
clinky clink.
You know the silverware?
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Such a good way of putting it.
Kevin goes home. I want to talk about lakes,
Uh huh.
missing time in pageants, And
Incest.
Why we've never talked about
Incest.
No, I'm exaggerating. We talked, but yeah, it was just not. I think it's cool, but my mom never really talked about the past, which is cool in the sense of I love having a mom that doesn't live for the past but lives for her now, and
That's cool as fuck.
But then you do sometimes want to hear those stories.
Ask her if she remembers when the Lake Worth monster craze was happening. See, and I would like to know if she remembers that. Or
yeah, because that's right around that
when
area.
when she beat the Lake Worth monster in a beauty pageant.
Yeah. Honey,
Now
you
we're getting
you
somewhere.
finally asked me something
Her name
I
was
want to talk
Rebecca.
about.
Right. Oh my!
He's trying to talk about incest. I didn't care about that. I'm waiting for him to come home and talk to me about the Lake Worth monster.
That's a
that I
good
can
Texas
talk about.
accent.
It is?
Most people do Southern when they do Texas.
I thought I was doing Southern right now.
No.
Wow.
No, because
There you
Southern is more like this, and most people
More
try to
like
do this when they're
this.
trying to be from Texas, and it couldn't be more wrong.
You gotta sharpen those R's a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Boston in me. I feel like Boston and Texas, like, I don't know how. There's a harsher.
Cowboys in their own rights.
Cowboys in their own right.
Michael's making a face.
Yeah.
How are they?
Well, like I went for the harsher
Yeah.
in my view accent because that's
Oh, okay.
when I do accents. I go, you fucking going to Dunkin's or what? And then finally someone asked me instead of like finally someone asked me something.
Yeah.
Right. That's my clue into Texas. Is like fuck you. right. That's it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like fuck you. That's the southern one.
The accent that always surprises me was and when we were in Louisiana, when we were in New Orleans, Kevin and I, that's how we met. I remember we had a driver that drove us around, the van that drove us to and from set. She was like was in the Mardi Gras parade every year.
I loved her.
And yeah, she was great. Her name it was like Lynn or something. I think her name was Lynn anyway.
That sounds New Orleans.
She her accent, and I can't do it, but it sounded almost like a Brooklyn or Bronx accent. It was like not Southern at all. It's really weird. And I used to think like she sounds like she's from New York.
Yeah,
but
their
she was
accent's
super
very weird.
It's
in
yeah,
not,
that
New
like
Orleans.
not
Creole.
Not,
It's got a little mix
And
of
it's not like
Creole,
the rest of
Cajun.
Louisiana,
No,
really.
it's really specific, and it sounds almost like a New York accent. And I thought I was nuts. And then years later, I was listening to something, and they were comparing how those two accents are kind of similar. So maybe you're on, even though I doubt
rolling
it.
his
Maybe
eyes
you're onto
still,
some-
like, rolled
maybe
his
you're
eyes
onto something
again.
about Boston and Texas sounding similar.
Can you compliment someone without rolling your
He
eyes?
can,
Yes, I
guess.
love you, Kevin.
Well,
No,
that was
no,
a
he
hard
cannot.
eye roll.
Oh, I just snorted, not even on purpose.
All right, let's do this. Let's open up this mailbag. We have a listener, Heidi, from last. Now, Kevin, you weren't with us last time. You could not make it. Jen was here, and we had a story from a listener named Heidi where she talked about how she and her sister saw, if you remember this, Jen, saw a ghost of their friend
At the mall.
at the
At
mall.
the mall. Yeah. And
Well,
they hugged her.
And Jen wanted more information. And here is her follow-up, Jen, if you want to read that.
Sure. From Heidi. A follow-up. Okay.
There you
Hi,
go.
BCC crew. There were a few questions. This is already such a short email. I'm afraid I will get no answers. There were a few questions that were asked about my friend. His name was Carl, and he died in a car accident. I never talked to his family as we were loosely connected teens at the time. Perhaps they were even cousins. However, in talking to my sister about the experience, she remembered a few details that I didn't mention, had forgotten. When we saw him, he was with his girlfriend. And my sister remembers that he was saying he needed to take her home. At the time we saw him, she, the girlfriend, was in a coma from the accident. She ended up living. Thank goodness. Wait, okay.
Whoa.
Wait.
That's a huge detail to leave out.
So a woman who was not dead was physically standing next to Carl,
Yes.
and they saw her.
To
Yes.
recap,
But
this
she
sto-
was in a coma at
But
the
she
time.
was meanwhile
So
in a
her
coma at the
soul-
hospital.
Her soul was out of her body in
Perhaps.
human form. Okay. I was never able to talk to her because social media didn't exist then and I didn't know her personally. Plus, I was going through a lot of shit at the time. But it was a very interesting experience. And then she linked to an article about the accident. I like
I've got it right here.
I like the parenthetical. Plus, I was going through a lot of shit at the time. Like, guys,
Wow.
we've been focusing so much on Carl that, like, maybe this girl has her own shit going on. And
She's the link.
when a ghost appears to you, you can't always, like, take it all in because we've all got our own shit going on.
Wow.
So the article
It would be on brand for this listener if we pressed about what was going on with her at the time. If she was like, I had been abducted by aliens.
Right.
Stop leaving stuff out.
Yeah, the article she sent, thank you, Heidi, is from 2001, and it says, a Total Lake High School sophomore was in serious condition Friday night at the Legacy Emmanuel Hospital in Portland, where she's being treated for injuries she received in a car accident Thanksgiving Day that killed a Longview teenager.
Wow.
So Jessica A. Eckert, 15, of Silver Lake, was flown to the hospital. This is in Portland, Maine. And killed was Carl F. Halverson, 17, of Longview, driver of a 1985 Ford LTD
Wow.
that crossed the center line and struck a westbound tour bus head on.
News article makes
According
it
to
that
Washington
much more
State
real.
Pro- Oh,
Wait,
Washington. This is
Carl
Washington.
crossed the center line.
Yeah, he crossed over and hit an oncoming bus. In his
Just to recap the story real quick for you, Kevin, and the listeners too. These two girls were at a mall where they saw their friend Carl, and it was pretty
He'd already been
nonchalant.
killed.
Well, yeah, thank you, Michael. And they remember hugging him and like saying a quick hi and hello, and then he went off, only to find out a few minutes or hours later that he had actually been killed a day or two before. So
that is a great
making
story.
it all the more creepy and kind of,
But you just reminded me that one of my questions was, what was it like to hug a ghost?
right.
Heidi got it right back in. Sorry,
back
She's got
in.
her own
Dragging-
shit going on.
I
Yeah,
know, we're dragging
right,
this
right.
horrible story out of her.
Jeez.
Well, thank you for that, Heidi and Chen. Great job. Who wants to read?
Great job.
Great job.
Good for you.
Bryce, you want to kick us off?
Sure.
You want to read a letter to the kids?
Why not? This is from Kirsten Kurtzen.
My
I think
heart
it's either
rolled my eyes when I said that.
I think it's either from Kristen or Kirsten, but they spelled it Kirtsen. So
That's Kirsten.
There's something afoul there.
Unless her name's Kurtzen.
Unless it's Kurtzen.
Oh, that's probably my typo.
Hey guys, first I love your
That's
podcast.
the likeliest.
It gets me through the workday and eases my anxiety. Love that. Brings me genuine joy and is just all around fucking awesome. Please keep doing it forever. My
At
story
least
of-
another year. Probably
we'll
one
see
more
how much
year.
is in the tank. My story of high strangeness involves a glitch in the Matrix type experience. I was around 8 years old when I joined my elementary school's softball league. I grew up in Huntington Beach, and my parents were huge Anaheim Angels fans, so they were ecstatic when I wanted to get involved in baseball. They immediately became team parents and were very involved. So the time comes for my first practice, and my mom picked me up from school and lets me know my stepdad is running late at work, but will meet us at the baseball field. I'm halfway through practice, and I see my mom sitting in the stands watching me, and I notice my stepdad drive up. I see his red truck turn into the parking lot. I watch him park, get out of the car, and start to walk over to my mom. I know it's him because of his car, his GTE uniform, and his haircut that was very unique to him in that he swears to this day wasn't a mullet, but it was definitely a mullet. Anyways,
Good side note.
he gets to my mom, bends down, and kisses her on the cheek. She says hi to him and then points to me in the field. He waves. I wave back and then go about my practice. I don't look back over to them again until practice is over and we're all headed back to the dugout. When I get to my mom, she's alone, and I ask her where my stepdad went. She apologized and told me that he called and said he couldn't get away from work and that he was really bummed he missed it. I'm instantly confused and explain that I saw him drive up, saw them talking, and even waved at him. I had told her the story so matter-of-factly that she immediately became concerned that something had happened to him. She called him, and he was completely fine, just again, really bummed to have missed my practice. I wasn't a dramatic kid, and I didn't tend to lie, and I am still to this day 100% sure of what I saw. It never happened again, and it still confuses us all to this day. I'm curious to know if you guys have ever had any glitch in the Matrix experiences, and if so, what are your thoughts on them? I went back and forth between astral projection or even an affair, but once I realized no one else could repeat that fucking haircut, I decided to settle on paranormal. Thanks for reading this. I really can't say enough how much I love and appreciate your podcast. You guys followed me back on Instagram, and full disclosure, I freaked out and may have cried a little and scared my dog. It made my month, though, so it was worth it. Hopefully the story wasn't too long. Love you guys. Bye.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting my Casey Kasem thing down pretty good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Paranormal mullet.
Paranormal mullet.
I like that she's relaxed by this podcast. This podcast gives me such anxiety.
Yeah, it does the opposite for
Like
her.
certain times of day, I can't listen to it. I have to take a break for a while. Like, it's so scary.
I know. For her, it has the opposite effect, and I love that. The glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, that's a crazy story. You know, you wouldn't be the only one to describe our reality-based reality as something like a simulation. Elon Musk has talked.
Supervillain Elon Musk.
Supervillain Elon Musk has
Cocaine addict.
talked
Elon
extensively
Musk has some ideas.
about how this all might be
I like
some sort
Elon
of.
Musk.
Oh, yeah, but he's kind of a supervillain.
He may not be credible. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe he's like a Batman, like superhero.
Totally.
Like he's just playing the villain.
Okay, cool.
I don't. We should pair him up against Bigelow anyway. They'd make a good.
Another eye roll.
Yeah, yeah. Another complimented eye roll.
All right.
But no, I mean, if we are living in some sort of simulation, then it would make sense that there might be glitches every now and then. And I don't know. That's a strange story.
Yeah, he could have
I've
been
never
sitting
heard
at work
anything like that.
imagining what it would have been like if he went and she actually saw his thoughts.
Hence the astral projection
what
part
that
of
is?
it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Or her mom is a type and she was having an affair. And it's not that hard to replicate a mullet, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like she said, an affair
Or would the affair be that her dad was lying to her mom about? Wait, did she see her dad with her mom?
Yeah.
They were
Interacted.
together.
Well, she
Damn,
saw
so
his.
weird.
And that's the thing. She saw the truck pull in. She saw his
truck.
GTE uniform, and she saw his haircut. And he waved, kissed the mom. So it's more than just
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a doppelganger. If
Unless
it's
they're
anybody
fucking
else.
with her. Did she ever think of this?
You really don't trust your family right now.
Some parents just say shit.
I mean, but that's a crazy story. I've never heard a story like that with so many kind of specific details as to something like that happening. That's just weird and random. And I don't know. You definitely experienced, I'm with you, some sort of glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, I've never had a glitchy experience like that. The story that comes to mind is of Craig Ferguson in the episode that we had. Remember when he saw that crow appear out of nowhere?
Yeah,
That was a crazy story.
Yeah.
And his wife saw it too.
that's right.
And then my sister was telling me a story, I think this was last year or earlier this year, that she was outside and she was looking at the sky and she saw a cloud pop into existence out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
And she said that was super, super weird, that there was like no cloud and suddenly a little cloud went bloop, bloop, and popped into place. I don't know.
Interesting.
Weird stuff.
What do you guys think about the simulation theory? Is any of you entertain that notion?
What is that? What is that theory?
That that we're basically living in.
I wish people saw the.
It was like an arm
at the-
stretch eye roll.
And he just looked down like so not.
It's like, oh
interested.
God, what am I gonna?
That
hear right
basically
now?
we're someone's VR experiment. We're just avatars for some higher technologically based society, and that this is all really some sort of a program running itself out, a higher advanced computer program, our reality that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Did that kind of sum it up? Sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an advanced civilization studying itself by running computer models to get to where it is, and we're just one of the models.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about that?
Kevin looks slightly terrified. This thought never occurred to him.
I'm not real.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I don't have any thoughts on that. I really don't.
I don't believe in it.
No. All right. 2 no's.
Well,
2
what
hard
is
no's.
reality anyway? That's what I always
Not
come back
that.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there's like an idea that like our reality is a hologram? We're all living in a giant hologram.
Well, that's
I
sort
mean,
of the
it
theory.
is,
That's sort of
really.
the theory, right? That it's like if you look at where today's technology is, and you put on a VR mask, and you can have an avatar in a sort of a gaming system. You know, as they say, technology sort of doubles itself every 3 to 5 years. That imagine what technology would be like, 100 to 200 years down the road. We would basically be able to install ourselves into some sort of, avatar-like creation, video game or computer program that you wouldn't be able to tell reality from non-reality. It would be so real that you would have sense perception, touch, smell, taste, all those things that you really wouldn't be able to know outside of your own ego identity, what was real and what was not.
I mean, I'm totally down with this idea for sure. I mean, that's kind of what I kind of think that's what we were in. You know what I mean? I've talked about this.
So you subscribe.
But how many people are playing the game? Because we're over here and there's someone down the street and there's people all over the world.
Well, that's more of a game theory. Like Riley was saying, it could have just been some more of a model, like how people set up models to test out scientific experiments. You know what I mean? Like some sort of aperture to be like, hey, let's test out how a civilization would get started with some, panspermia, and we'll run a program and see where it leads, and see if they get themselves out of trouble or get themselves into more trouble, or who fucking knows,
Or in this case, someone ran a model. It's like, let's get old Kenny out of the truck. Can you do one where he just gets out of the truck, climbs up into the bleachers, and kisses his wife?
Right. Yeah. Well,
okay, good. And then they didn't do anything else with it because they're like they took a half day that day.
Well, and that would be the glitch theory, right? Is like as you see in like the movie Wreck-It Ralph, the Sarah Silverman's character, she has that glitch where she can she glitches, which means that there's a coding program, a coding malfunction or a misstep, and that would explain what that is. That things like that can happen.
Now all I'm thinking about is sweet voiceover money that I would like to make.
Totally.
So that's interesting because then if this reality is that
right,
then everyone who's uncomfortable in their reality and who doesn't fit in some way into this world, or who's kind of just, and usually by that nature, they're not exactly killing it by our standards.
Right.
Like, those people are suddenly like the ones who are a little bit like more advanced.
Right. Because
they're becoming aware that they are not what they're told they are.
Right.
They've taken
and the people who are just like happy in their skin and killing it.
Right.
They haven't developed a self-awareness.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
That's it. I'm following you. Yeah. They haven't taken.
So when you feel lost, when you feel like, why can't I feel comfortable and do what other people can do? Why am I awkward? It's because you're aware that you're not real.
Basically,
that tracks.
There's something to it.
Yeah, they call that the red pill theory now. Those people who have sort of realized what you were talking about. They've either...
I thought I had an original idea.
No, yours was originally put. I like it. Killing it. I like that. So you're either killing it or not. Yeah. And no, but yeah, that does track, as Michael would say. Interesting.
All right. Well, this one is from Christian, and shout out to Christian. He's a Patreon supporter, and I met him at Long Beach Comic Con. Super nice guy. Yes.
Earlier, you said that was your typo. Are you transcribing these from something?
Yes, I've just taken these off of our email account, and I put them on sheets of paper. But I will write from Christian at the top, and sometimes
so you're not typing the whole, retyping the whole thing.
Just copy and paste.
I was gonna teach you copy and paste.
I'm very lonely. I have a lot of time on my hands.
Control C and then Control V.
This is. Thank you, though. Thanks for looking out. This is from Christian. He says, this was about 2015. My husband and I were living in a rental that was built in the 1920s. I always felt safe there. Nothing felt out of place. And the first time I experienced something different was a night when I was folding laundry. I was alone. Being married to an airline pilot, I'm often alone. And I was folding laundry in our bedroom. It was in the back of the house, and we didn't get light from passing cars at all back there. And as I was standing and folding, a
loud. Don't always have total control
nice
over
touch,
this
though.
thing.
No,
I
hey.
kind of liked it.
He's in a simulation. You can't control him.
That's right.
As I was standing and folding, a shadow of a human figure passed by, moving across the wall across from me. I stopped what I was doing and looked around. Not seeing anything else, I went about my folding. Now, sometime in winter of 2016, I was deep in my master's program and was rightly stressed out. My husband is the guy who falls asleep as soon as he gets in bed, whereas I'm the guy who tosses and turns. When I finally was able to close my eyes and begin to drift off, I was awakened with an electrifying jolt. I opened my eyes, and at the foot of the bed, and floating about 3 to 4 feet off the floor, was an elderly woman.
Ooh.
She had long and wild hair. She was wearing what looked like an old nightgown and was very wrinkled. She was holding onto my feet, and bluish lightning was flowing from her and into my feet.
Cool.
It didn't hurt. It actually felt good. As jolting as it was to find this, I wasn't scared. She continued to pour energy into me until my breathing came under control, and then she was gone. We lived there for about another year and a half, and I never saw her again. I spoke to a friend who has studied paranormal activity, and he agreed with me that her intentions were good. She knew that I was at a low place in my life and was helping me. Another friend who calls himself a medium was at the house not long after. I asked him if he felt anything else in the house, and he said that a ghost did live there, but that it was a good ghost of a young girl and not that of an older lady.
Okay.
We now live in an even older house built in 1919. A neighbor has said that there is a ghost of a boy here, and at times you can see his handprint appear on the window of the front room. We haven't seen the print yet. The other night, as I was going to sleep, I turned off the lamp and closed my eyes, and I realized that there was a light in the room. We have blackout drapes in the bedroom, and I heard the lamp click back off.
Yeah.
Someone had turned the lamp on and then off again. So that's where we are now.
Wow.
Thank you for the fun pod, guys. I'm proud to call myself a Clubhouse member, and we are proud to have you. Thank you, Christian.
Most definitely.
Dude, what a crazy story.
Yeah.
Jessica Tandy gives the main pedicure, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like it reminds me of the Emperor from
Yes.
Return of the Jedi. but
Totally.
like,
Blue lightning out of the
but
fingers.
a good Emperor.
Right. But a
Weird.
good emperor?
I was thinking, I was like, is that a movie or someone's like,
Yes.
It's also-
Skywalker.
Yeah.
it's also the lightning scene in Caddyshack, which that's what we watched
Oh,
it
I
on
love
Thanksgiving.
that. So great.
It's the blue light comes through
Yeah.
him.
Oh,
So
yeah.
great.
Weird. That would freak the F out of me.
I think that was a dream. I know he doesn't sleep well and he tosses and turns.
Right. Right.
It's too crazy for me.
Yeah, it's sort of that witching hour that you're between sleep and between awakefulness, and where a lot of shit goes down.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It leaves it up for debate. Are people really seeing some sort of physical apparition, or is it their mind sort of closing in on the sleep paralysis? You know.
I think it is. I mean, I believe the handprint thing in my house I grew up in that was built in 1812, not to kick the dick off his 1919
Right.
story. But we had little kid handprints. There was a room that my sister had slept in forever.
Yeah.
And I was 10 and she was 20 and she stopped sleeping in there because she claimed she saw a little boy ghost.
Ugh.
Anyway, but that window was always like moisture. You know what I mean? Always looked like it had just rained, even though it wasn't. And in the winter, like there'd be little handprint. It looked like little handprints. We would just ignore it.
that
Like
would
it just got
freak
so
me
used
out.
to it that I'm not even weirded out telling this. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean the handprint. But I don't. I have a theory about the shadow.
Okay.
His husband is fucking with him. He pretended he had a flight. He's like, bye, honey. He goes with this little bag of like pilot bag. And then he like waits 6 hours until it gets dark. And then he makes a shadow across the wall.
Oh, jeez.
I would do that just for fun.
If that's the case, they need to divorce.
No, they don't. That's
because
fun.
he's
Jen's a fan of the
crazy.
fucking with proponent. Yeah.
That is
Ghost prank.
that is
That I would
an
totally do
elaborate
that.
plan
Yeah, that's
to
fun,
cast a faint shadow on the wall.
That's how some people
I
keep
don't
this
know.
things alive.
Well, what do you think? You think if let's say it was really happening. What do you think that energy?
For the sake of this podcast,
For the sake of the
please say
podcast,
it.
what do you
Let's say-
think that ghost might have been up to, pouring that blue energy or that lightning into their foot?
It's like a charge up.
Maybe they
Right.
were like, I need to go to the other side and I can't use this energy anymore, so take the last of my human energy.
Oh,
I guess we find out that in this strange fake reality we live in, that old ghost ladies are basically our iPhone chargers. And every night while we sleep, they come into the simulation and charge us from the feet up. And we're like, oh, that's what toes are for. Like when we like,
Finally figured out what they're for.
finally
Yeah.
Figured
Makes
out what
sense.
toes are for.
yeah.
Weird stubby fingers.
Oh my God, yes.
It all makes
Just
sense.
not supposed to wake up and see it.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Oh, brother. Kevin, you got a letter over there. You want to read it to the kids?
Sure. From Sophie. Hey, Michael and Bryce. No mention of Kevin.
Or
No mention of
Riley.
Jen.
Or Riley. Riley doesn't get
Or
any,
Riley,
any
yeah.
of these.
Let's address Riley on the next
That's
one here.
upsetting.
Yeah, some,
That's rude, you guys.
Guys,
listen to these crazy sounds I'm putting in.
Yeah, and those are live
Riley
scored,
is
by the way.
an exponentially, continually developing character on this show. You guys need to address him every now and then.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that.
Hey, Michael and Bryce. I'm Sophie from Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne.
From Melbourne, Australia.
Let's stick with that for the rest of the story.
I can't.
Thank you.
I have a lot of paranormal experiences as I feel and see spirits and have done so since I was 4 years old and have a bit of experience in that region of the paranormal. There's some grammar things going on here.
Maybe if you read it in an Australian accent, it would make more sense.
Maybe. However, an experience that has recently come back to me since listening to your podcast. That was its own sentence. When I was little, I must have been about 5 or 6. I woke up to the feeling of being lifted off my bed.
Ooh.
I woke fully up and realized that I was in fact floating a meter or so off my bed. It only happened for a few seconds, but I floated above my bed and into the wall. I love that detail.
Into the wall. Wow.
Like through the wall or
It was just,
bumped her head?
she's just saying it was not one of those like, perfect floats. It was a little clumsy and like she bumped the wall.
Right.
And it was at that point that I floated back onto my bed. I'd never talked to my parents about it until today when I asked my parents if I'd ever mentioned it, to which they said no. But my sister, who's 2 years older than me, had, and also my dad, all floated on that same night.
What?
I don't know what it was, but it happened to 3 people out of 4 in one house.
Good odds.
Thanks, guys. Love the show. It's grouse.
Yeah, that's an Australian expression for cool.
Oh, grouse.
Grouse, y'all.
Grouse.
Zeke. Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Floaters.
Cool. Thank you. What was her name again?
Sophie.
Sophie. Thank you for that. Wow.
Yeah.
So mom didn't float, but sister and dad did?
Sounds like mom's telekinetic.
Yeah.
And she was pissed.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
She was getting charged.
Maybe
Wait, you think her mom was what?
Is that the
telekinetic.
word when
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
make
yeah.
things like
Oh.
her
Move
mom
with
was
your
making
mind.
them all float?
Oh,
She was in bed just
I like
mad
that
as
that
fuck.
angle. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was thinking like the mom must feel left out, but I like in your version she's controlling
She's the
it.
cause.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy story.
It's like
Why did they no one ever thought to talk about it?
I don't know. Maybe they grew up in the Kirkpatrick household.
Yeah.
That's right.
Australia's Kirkpatrick.
I feel like that would have hit the table the next day.
Right.
Do you know what I'm so
float
mad
last
about?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm so mad about right now?
What?
When we were talking about Boston and Texas accents, I almost said also Boston and Australia have a similar accent and they remind me of each other. And I wish I'd said it because it would have tied back around.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, sorry.
now you're just
no,
trying-
it makes sense.
But now it sounds not believable.
Yeah.
But do you think that is the mother more resistant? Like, I'm very fascinated by the one who didn't float. Like, what's that energy about?
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I
she can't be infiltrated, that one.
I love that we're all just in
I
agreement.
think she caused it.
that they all floated.
It was a simultaneous float.
Yeah.
A simul float. I think the mom did it.
When you float, is it not the body though? Just the
Levitate.
She was saying a physical
Oh, that's a good
levitation.
question. Like, did she feel like she was floating, or was it an out of body thing? Like, was she sure her
I-
body was there?
I
I
guess-
think she was in her body. Her body was floating off the
Yeah.
I
bed.
think that's what she
Levitating, yeah.
thinks, but I
Yeah.
wonder if she
It wasn't an out of body
looked at
experience.
her body or if it was sensation driven, this memory.
I think she was physically floating in the air. Her body was levitating, and not the traditional out of body.
For everyone listening, Michael is dead staring me to shut this line of thinking down. I think she was in her body.
Kevin.
No, I'm just picturing it.
I don't believe in levitation, I don't think.
That's fine.
I wish I did.
Well, who believes in any of this stuff? This is strange shit, you know?
But like, if you said out of body, I'm like, oh, totally.
Right.
But I can't get with levitation.
Well, with the abduction phenomena, you know, they don't describe it as an out of body abduction. They describe it as literally physically being, you know,
Linda Napolitano.
lifted off their bed and taken through walls or windows.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense if
almost
it's an alien.
dematerialized and then rematerialized again after the wall. But yeah, they don't describe it as my body still being on the bed and then my soul or spirit or astral projection being taken up to the ship. They're like, no, I was physically, my body and soul moved out of the bed, through the wall, up the beam, onto the craft, you know, into the room, sort of thing. Crazy.
I
What
give
if her
credit.
mother drugged them all that night, or put some mushrooms in their
Yeah.
dinner?
It's a fun mom.
What were you gonna say?
That's a
I
fun
interrupted you.
mom.
I just give her credit for not being terrified. I'd be afraid for the rest of my life of that happening again. I don't want to do that.
That's the thing too. Maybe it's like they all think it's a dream, and like, you know, you go off the next day and you're like, oh, I can't believe that either A happened or B I dreamt that, and then it isn't. Like she said, she, you know, listening to the podcast, she's like sparked a memory, like, oh, I'm gonna ask him about that. And then she does, and it, you know, rings true to you know, her other family members. That's a big aha moment.
I'm with Kevin though. I would have been like, I used to tell my entire family every freaking dream I had that night. Like,
right the next day.
much to their chagrin, but like I would have been like, I floated last night in my bed.
You float?
totally.
You float?
Yeah.
You float? Anybody else
Yeah.
float?
Who else floated?
This is not. I mean, this is a fairly unflappable individual. I mean, she floated, and this is the size of her email. And she floated. It's like
I'll just
an
float it
eighth
a
of a
little bit.
page.
It wasn't that much.
and she floated.
Yeah.
Like the moment when I realized you all had coffee and I didn't, I could fill 3 pages with my feelings on that.
Offered for the record.
I knew that was weird.
I offered. You said
This girl
no.
floats, and she's got about 4 sentences in her, and then a couple that I don't even know if you can call them sentences.
I offered you, Kevin, and your response was, I don't shop at Starbucks. Do you want anything from Burger King? That's what you said to me, smartass.
I find that as a parallel. Like, if you're going to offer me Starbucks, I'm going to offer you Burger King. You guys, they're not sponsoring, are they?
No.
Starbucks.
That'd be great if they were.
Oh, God forbid.
Wow.
All right, well, next time I'll bring a fucking French press, you asshole. All right, Riley, what do you got? Riley, you got something you want to give
Yeah,
that
you wanna
keyboard
take-
over to Mr. Bryce? He'll
wanna-
do that.
Let me set it up here.
Oh yeah, wow.
Oh, that's pretty spooky.
This thing
Oh, that's
is
good.
one of the coolest things I've ever seen because it looks
Man.
fake.
Yeah.
The space pad.
It does.
Oh,
It
man.
looks like a prop made for some sci-fi movie in which whatever it's supposed to do, a real expert in that field would go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
That's what I really like about it. Yeah.
It looks so
I'm gonna press this
toy-like
one right
and
here.
awesome.
I'm going to take a photo of
Good choice, Bryce.
Bryce doing this.
Little
We'll
moon.
put it up on the Instagram.
Oh my God,
Let
I
me see.
can't
Bryce,
believe
tilt it
it.
a little towards camera, will you?
Oh, you looking
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Well, this one's from Steven. Hey guys, this is Steven from Des Moines, Iowa. I love the podcast, just discovered it recently, and I'm hooked. Thanks, Steven. I'm binging all the past episodes right now, and I have a pretty good ghost encounter for you guys. I know, who doesn't? That was him, not me. I've always had an interest in the paranormal universe and have family who are sensitive and see ghosts. I used to be in a paranormal group when I was younger, and our favorite location was old, dilapidated army barracks. This was about 8 to 10 years ago. It's good.
Nice.
Good childhood memory. A little bit about the building. It was a 3-story, old, broken-down army barracks. It also... I'm going to add some words here. It also was used as a hospital for tuberculosis patients, and a prostitute was killed in the basement.
Oh no.
A story I heard...
Sex worker.
Yes, Stephen.
That's every building.
A story I heard, never researched it. Okay. The windows were boarded up, so even in the daytime, it was pitch black inside. One of the craziest incidents was when we were chased out by something. It started with us in the attic doing a walkie-talkie experiment, 1 click for yes, 2 for no. We were getting answers from a little boy spirit who my friend had made contact with before. Sometime during the session, someone in the group asked if there was anything that was going to hurt us, and it responded, yes. And,
Yikes.
and we asked if we needed to leave,
Bad
and
question.
it said yes. So after a few more questions, we said, okay, we'll leave, and headed down to the first floor. We got to the first floor, and before we headed outside, we decided to try another session, and we asked if anything was still going to hurt us, and it said yes. And we
It said yes. And it said yes.
theme here.
Calmly, yes, I will kill you.
Did I stutter? Yes.
Seriously.
And we asked if we needed to leave right now, and it came back yes. So
Very positive. Good.
Yeah.
So by now we all have hair standing on the backs of our necks and goosebumps. Not even a minute after it said to leave, now an extremely loud bang happened, about as loud as a gunshot. We immediately ran outside. There was a guy behind me who literally shoved me down the stairs to get out of the building.
Not cool.
That's how scared. Oh, I think it was his buddy who he was with.
Yeah.
That's how scared some of us were. After we calmed down a bit, we went back inside to see if we could find what made the noise. The first floor was split into 3 large rooms in a row with double doors going into each room. In the third room, opposite side of the building, we found a large metal object in the middle of the floor. It weighed roughly 20 to 30 pounds. I picked it up and dropped it, and it sounded exactly the same as the loud bang we heard before. Nobody remembered seeing it when we walked through earlier, and there was nobody else in the building. Somebody picked this object up and dropped it, and to this day it still gives me chills. There's a picture included. The picture I included was taken at a different time at this place. It was in the attic. There was a large board that was against the far wall that was used for indoor target practice. Okay. This was my first time in this place, and I was just snapping pictures. I leaned over the board to get a pic behind it and captured this strange mist or something. Very interested to see what you guys think. Also, like I said, I've been to this place 25 plus years after this pic was taken, and each time I would take it from the same spot and never got anything remotely like that. Keep up the great work, guys. You're all awesome. Steven.
Wow.
Yeah, and the photo shows this sort of green mist next to an old window against a brick wall. We'll put it up on the Instagram.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some spooky mist.
Yeah,
Nice
by the
button
way.
pushing there,
Dude, that was awesome.
well done, everybody. Linda Godfrey talks about green mists in her books
yeah.
that show up in like weird areas where there's been paranormal activity.
That's an overall creepy picture.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know what would cause that green foggy thing.
It's the closest to like Ghostbusters I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like
Not
that-
bad.
It is
almost
sort of like an
green slime.
ectoplasmic kind of
Yeah.
like weird thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a cool story. Stay out of old dilapidated bunkers.
The one click, 2 click thing, that's crazy. When I was younger, I like 13 or something, I had my own phone line, and we kept hearing these click. I had 3-way calling, which I was super excited about.
Oh man.
And we kept hearing this. I was on the phone with my buddies, and we kept hearing this like click, like, you know, and this interference. And then we started asking. We were like, it got to the point where we're like, let's ask it a question or something. We felt like it was something other than just some random set of clicks. And we did. We asked, is this somebody or something? And it was like 1 for yes, 2 for no, and it went click. You know, and we started asking it questions, and we got the 1 click, 2 click, yes, no answers. But it
That was the government.
I know. I felt like
Bored
it felt
CIA agent.
it felt
That was
totally tapped.
That
It
was
really
Christian's
did.
husband, the pilot, fucking with you.
I'm telling you,
That
and
guy does that.
it wasn't just the one time. It happened for like a couple different times, and it definitely would
I
like,
don't like that.
yeah, it was strange, but it did. It felt like somebody was listening in on our phone conversation or something like that. I'm not saying it was ghost-like, but it was definitely,
Strange.
some sort of intelligent presence, like, responding to our calls and our questions.
Ay.
Strange. You saw a mist, didn't you, Michael, recently?
A mist? Oh.
in that photo.
Yeah. Speaking of green sort
Well,
of ghostly
I
mists.
think I might save this story for the Patreon
Okay.
this week, but
Copy
I
that.
will tease you guys that
Tease away.
yeah, at Thanksgiving, I took a photo of our friend.
Wait,
Pete.
can I do the sounds for this one?
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Even though it's just a tease, I think it should be
Let's
underscored.
do it.
Score those.
I love it.
Oh, we
wanna
finally
play.
got him to put headphones
Oh,
on.
nice.
Welcome to the party.
So these
Kevin's so
buttons just make
excited.
sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Just pressing buttons.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to get a picture of you doing it.
Look like a European DJ.
You do. You look like C-3PO came to life.
Oh my God, totally.
Started a band.
It started a podcast about prog rock.
Amazing.
So anyway, I have a photo of Pete sitting across from me, and there is I discovered that there was, in the photo, there's this sort of like weird foggy mist that could be steam from the food, but the food was not piping hot. It was delicious, but it wasn't like it was like hot. Mm-hmm. It'd been sitting out for a minute, and it feels inconsistent.
I've seen the photo. It didn't look like food steam.
It doesn't. It's weird. Don't be afraid now.
You pushed the wrong button and it's all gone.
Just hold it down. You'll be fine.
I think I did something wrong. I pushed the yellow one.
Try again. Don't push the yellow ones.
Okay.
There you go.
Not as easy as it looks.
That's
So
a
I
good
look.
one, Kevin.
So in the photo, there's this like weird, misty. I don't know. It could be food steam, I guess. But then what's weird is that I scrolled to the next photo, and I accidentally took it of Pete, and it's not in that picture. And then in the third photo, there's a strange face
Entity.
deep in the reflection of a mirror that's over my shoulder.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it on the episode of Out There for the Patreon, because I want to dig a lot. I contacted Adela Levine about it too, and she had some things to say. So
Interesting.
it's kind of a weird little Thanksgiving encounter that I discovered.
Well, and this is
randomly.
When you say Pete, this is former guest Pete Gardner, who
Yeah.
also provided us with our great Sasquatch voice at the beginning. But it was his house, him and Susie's house, where we did our gallery reading.
Yeah.
So where former guest Adela Levine, did readings for all of us. So spirits have been contacted in that space.
Susie kind of backed me up on that too, because I sent the photo to her. So we'll talk about it.
Cool.
Over on the Patreon.
Awesome. Get over there.
Jen.
Tell me about what kind of stuffing your family makes for a Thanksgiving meal.
Well, this wasn't my family, but I believe there's some cornbread stuffing.
I need one of these.
Well, why don't you
just want to live score your day with it?
Why don't you live score the letter that Jen's about to read to us?
All right.
Okay.
I have some thoughts on this letter when it's over.
Okay.
Hi, guys. From Danny. My name is Danny, and I'm a music festival food vendor, and I have been obsessively listening to the show while traveling the last month and a half. My girlfriend and I have started watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Also, I'm watching Spindrift videos on YouTube while writing this, and it's fucking awesome.
There you go, Ryan.
Yeah.
All right.
Sort of a shout out without your name.
Yeah, for sure.
That's even better.
Anyway, I have a great recent ghost/witch story that I thought I had to send you after Gabrielle Ruiz told her story a few weeks ago. It comes from my brother. We grew up in northeastern
There's
Pennsylvania.
tension between he and his brother.
Oh, yeah,
apparently.
totally.
Based on the music.
We grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania. It's very rural and pretty with old farmhouses and cows and trees. A friend of ours moved into a new house up there with his kids. It's a big old house that he got. Is it new or old? It's new to them. It's a big old house that he got pretty cheap because no one had been living in it for a while. My brother Mike took his 5-year-old daughter, Kara, up for a visit recently. As soon as they get there, he notices that Kara is acting weird about the kitchen. She doesn't want to be in there and just avoids it. Well, our friend starts to tell him that the woman who used to live there and died there was all alone. And the small town rumor was that she was a witch. Mm-hmm. The landlord had even told him that the small room that was attached to the kitchen by a small door was where he suspected she did her witchy business. Our friend said the room did kind of freak him out, so he just keeps it locked and doesn't think about it. Later on, they're outside about to leave, and Mike had left his keys on the kitchen counter. So he says, "Hey, Kara, can you go grab my keys from the kitchen?" She stubbornly says, "No." So Mike is like, "Why not? Why have you been acting so weird?" And she just says, "Because I don't want to go by the scary lady that's been standing in there."
Ooh.
This all went down just a few months ago, and I get chills every time I tell the story. Going to grab my Ouija board now to investigate a small room attached to a kitchen. Talk to you soon.
Wow.
Danny.
Kids and dogs.
Whoa.
Kids and dogs, man.
Danny's
They know.
having a current haunt.
Well,
Yeah.
here's my take. First of all, in the old days, what we call witches were just fucking gynecologists, but the patriarchy. So, what is a witch anyway? Oh, a woman was alone. God forbid. She must be up to something crazy in that small room. Maybe she was just making lotions or something to pass the time because she didn't have a first cousin to hook up with. maybe the men in her area would put lower ages on their dating sites, and there was perfectly eligible men for her, but she was a little older, and so she died alone, sad in a small room. And since people don't bother to ask older women about their life experience, they're just written off as witches. So, could she be a ghost? Absolutely. Was she a witch? No.
Okay.
All right.
Or maybe she made offerings to the elementals and was a pagan nature goddess.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe she was a bride of Satan.
Well, I think we should stop being scared of witches. The little girl, I think, was fucking with her family.
This is kind of
That's the theme here.
yeah.
I think she overheard them talking, and she's like, I'm going to say this. I do think you should get the Ouija board out.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd
definitely.
say no Ouija board because I'm not into demons. I have a feeling this is a lonely, misunderstood witch.
I liked that theory.
I'm like, go in that little tiny room and get some answers.
Yeah.
How has
totally.
he waited 3 months? It's been. I would have, wherever I was going, where I needed the keys, I would have said, forget where I'm going right now.
I am
Put the
nervous
Ouija
that
board.
this is sort of like the first act of a horror film. And if he writes back, like, we're going to find out that the whole house was sucked into a vortex and he barely escaped.
And my theory's not true at all. Like, there totally were witches. There's no patriarchy at all.
Legit
like,
witch.
Yeah, like, she's a legit witch.
Takes
just
guts
saying.
to go grab your Ouija board. Obviously, the guy has a Ouija board, so they're open to this type
Yeah.
of stuff.
And he listens to this show.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's, going to grab my Ouija board. Like,
Yeah.
not like he has to go buy one.
Right,
Which I don't
totally.
get why he didn't just do it right away.
Right. I'd be afraid
We
to.
need to hear
I wish the
follow-up.
Beach Boys wrote more songs about grabbing their Ouija boards instead of their surfboards.
What if you surfed on a Ouija board?
Hey,
You would drown.
that'd be cool.
That's how I surf on the astral planes with my Ouija board.
A Ouija board
I had
design
to add my
surfboard.
little
Like a
feminist
cool
perspective.
surfing
because it's-
wizard.
No, I liked
because
it.
it's-
I liked it.
Why not?
Yeah.
As long as a girl's going to be here, I had to add that
I
perspective.
thought it was
I
great.
like it.
I
Yeah,
do
too.
think
I
that,
also like the perspective on old-timey dating sites. That's a good...
well, I just made up, I was trying to link it back to First Cousins, but I do think I think kids are more open to the spiritual realm because they're newly from it, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. Like kids and dogs, kids and animals, they're open to that shit. More, the great movie, oh God, Steven Spielberg's I can't think.
Paranormal activity.
No,
E.T.?
no, my God,
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
Yeah, the little girl who sees hears the entities through the static.
I don't like that.
Which static is just leftover radiation from the Big Bang.
What?
It's
Huh?
true. Television static. It's true. What you're hearing is what the receiver is picking up on is supposed leftover radiation from the Big Bang. Isn't that right, Riley?
I mean, yeah.
Have you ever heard of anything like
makes sense.
that?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
What if
it's
you have static during the TV show, The Big Bang Theory?
Well,
That's your Big Bang
That's
Theory.
your Big Bang Theory. Yeah, I don't know. That's
I'm
crazy.
looking-
Not
this up.
my Big Bang theory.
Yeah, look that up. There's something to
Hashtag
that.
Not
I think.
my Big Bang.
I'm like, I
Wow.
think I don't know.
Weird.
Of all the most believable stories we've heard today, the stories, I think this is the most believable.
Yeah, maybe.
Kevin, where are you at with believability on all this?
Oh, I believe it all.
Attaboy.
Oh, this is from NASA. You're right.
Okay.
Wow.
Can't trust anyone at NASA, though. We all know that.
Hey, man. NASA landed a robot on Mars this morning.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Cool.
I watched
Yeah.
the live stream.
I'm
Wearing my NASA shirt.
I'm making a joke about the people who think that dark NASA is lying to us about.
Well, yeah. Hashtag research flat Earth. Duh.
I have a
I love
psychic.
NASA, you guys.
I have a
Secret
psychic
space
weird
program.
energy story.
All right, let's
Okay.
hear it.
Yes.
The other day, I got a text message from someone who was a roommate of mine like almost 20 years ago. And there was no like fondness or like friendship reason. He even said like, don't take this the wrong way, but like, I haven't really thought about you in a while.
Right.
But he said just recently, it started with, is this Kevin Kirkpatrick? Trying to figure out if he had the right number. And he's like, I just had to get hold of you because you've been in my dreams over and over the last few days.
Oh, weird.
And you're in distress in all of these dreams.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I could have lived the rest of my life and probably never would have heard from this person, and there was no reason for him to feel compelled to, I miss Kevin, or reach out to find, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, I've never been more distressed than I have been in the last few couple weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, when you came up to the driveway, you had that aura of
Did I have an aura of distress?
Of distress, yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't want to turn into that. But I'm just saying. No, I had a death in my family, and then like the next day, my dog got diagnosed with cancer, and I was like, yeah, I feel crazy.
Right.
And so,
somehow you're entangled with this other person in their
of
dreams.
all the people to be tapped into what I might be going through.
Yeah, because it sounds like the only thing you guys ever talked about in your past was when he'd be like, "Don't eat my Cheerios, dude."
Yeah.
Is it strangely comforting that like?
I didn't find it the least bit comforting.
Okay.
I was terrified by it.
Yeah.
At least you have been in distress. Like, in other words, if you hadn't, I would be so scared that it was
What's
some
coming?
omen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
At least you're
right.
like,
Although he did use
Yeah.
the word in the text thread, he did use the word, in addition to distress, he used the word, you keep coming into my dreams in a violent way.
Oh, really?
And I didn't press that because I'm like,
that's scary.
yeah, I'm like, oh, that's, oh.
Right.
So yeah, I sincerely felt nauseous after that
Yeah,
text
he was
exchange.
compelled to like reach out to you and
Yeah.
find you, track you down.
I think energy like that can make us nauseous. Like in a weird way, it's positive that like someone's
Yeah.
reading your energy and they care, or cool that people can feel our energy, and then it feels weird.
Mhm.
It does feel nauseating and creepy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah,
That's
I don't like it
wild.
either. Weird, buddy. And I'm sorry you've been having a stressful time.
Yeah.
We love you.
2018
Yeah.
brought
Hey,
some weird stuff.
I
Hey,
agree. Me too.
Can I say one really weird quick
Yeah.
thing? I was at I had a friend in college named Marty. I haven't seen him since probably graduation day. Cool as shit, dude. Super fun. Used to date my roommate. And he does not live in California. He's from Massachusetts originally. I assumed he stayed out there. Anyway, I'm at the airport 2 weeks ago, and I'm getting off a plane, and I see someone at baggage claim, and I'm like, oh, there's Marty. And I'm like, Marty. And he goes, I'm not Marty. And I go, oh, sorry. And then I got closer and realized it's not Marty. And I go, oh, sorry, you look just like my friend Marty from college. And the guy goes, well, what's weird is I know you. We did go to college together, but I'm not Marty. And it wasn't Marty at all.
Right.
And he gave me his business card. And
Morty.
No, it was like, his name's like David or something, but he was like, oh, I'm also in entertainment, like, you know, just like, hey, networking. So like, I knew it wasn't Marty. He gave me his business card. And obviously it really wasn't Marty. He walked away. So then ever since I saw him, I'm like, oh, Marty's on. I wonder how Marty's doing. But I don't use Facebook for that. So I just never thought about it again. A week later, I'm on stage in San Diego. You see where this is going. But the thoughts in my head leading to it was at the end of the show, I gave books to everyone in the front row. And there was a guy whose arm was in a sling. And I was like chatting with him and teasing him about how he broke his arm. And he said he fell off one of those scooters that you can just pick up on the road.
Oh, one of
Yeah,
the bird.
right.
Yeah, and I go,
lift.
and he was like, looked like a dude about my age. I go, were you drunk? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, it's kind of sad. But as I was talking to him, I'm like, I can't believe I'm thinking this, but this guy looks like Marty. And I'm like, why do I think about Marty? So anyway, I get off stage and I go to the green room, and the guy stops me. He goes, Jen. And I go, thanks for joking around with me, dude. I'm like, you look like my friend from college. And as I'm like babbling, he's like, it's Marty. And I was like, oh
What?
my God. Well, it's not that weird that I thought he looked like him, because
Right.
it was him. But I go, I thought I saw you at the airport a week ago. And he was like, no, it wasn't me. I live in San Diego, but he's been in San Diego for work. But I just thought it was weird that I
That's
saw...
a weird synchronicity.
I saw,
Yeah.
and so what's even stranger is his ex-girlfriend that used to be my roommate. I haven't been in touch with her since like 2002.
Weird.
And I'm like, is blank, I just don't want to say her name. I'm like, is she dead? Like, I'm afraid to find out. He's like, well, weirdly, because I'm like, last week I was hanging out with my friend from college and we were talking about her. And he said, last week I thought I saw her at the airport with her husband and a kid. And she's not married with kids as far as we know. But anyway, he was comforted by the fact that he thought he saw her, but they made eye contact. Anyway, that has something to do with
Wow.
it. But I'll be curious to see if him thinking he saw someone at the airport leads to him actually
Seeing
running into
her.
her. But anyway, I thought that it's not ghostly. It's just weird energy. That's all.
It's very
Synchronicity.
strange.
Synchronicity.
There's also the coincidence that no one you went to school with can actually pick someone out of a crowd. It's all a bunch of, I think I saw them. I
Right.
think that's you.
Right.
Wait, are you?
We're old and our eyes are bad.
You know, Stephen LaBerge, he's a Stanford professor, but he basically literally wrote the book on lucid dreaming. And one of the more kind of fascinating experiments that he kind of uncovered in his research proving the existence of lucid dreaming and whatnot was he met in one of his lucid dream experiments, he met an old friend in a cafeteria where they had a distinct conversation about something or other. And it wasn't till later when he ran into her, like a year or two later, and he had kind of forgotten about the incident, but she made sure to point out to him, she's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. You know, I had the strangest dream and I can't forget it. But we met in a cafe and we had this and this conversation, and it immediately snapped with him that, like, yeah, I had that lucid dream." So they were able to link up via their dreams and share a common dream. And he would later uncover that, that wasn't the only case where that had happened, that he had, some anecdotal evidence of other people experiencing the same thing.
I've had that, but not that we were doing the same thing, but this person I used to have a dream about each other, like on his birthday every year, and we'd call each other, and we'd have information that we wouldn't have known.
Yeah, strange, isn't it? I mean, and so perhaps maybe if you can try and remember your dreams in the next week or two, maybe there's something in your dreams that might kind of link.
Maybe you're going on a violent rampage each night that you don't remember.
There might be a clue in there somewhere or something
and
like that.
And maybe he just like fumbled with that word. It's like the way you showed up is shocking, but it doesn't mean you have like a machete.
Yeah.
Right.
I was hoping that, and that's why I didn't ask. I'm like, I'll just assume the use of the word violent.
Abrupt.
Did you ask him to keep you posted if there's more? Or did you say like,
no.
Hey, oh, okay.
Lose my number.
I'm just too, it's scared. It creeps me out. I don't know. We might meet up or something.
What if you guys are cousins and you're in love?
Yeah.
All right, do we have time for one more, you think?
Yeah, we're on our own schedule.
All right, cool.
Sure.
One last one. Here we go.
Right.
Oh, I'm on a schedule run by an avatar.
That's right. That's right.
This is from Wayne, and it's entitled The Mayor's House.
Ooh.
I used to bartend when I was in university. The pub, he just gets right into it. The pub I worked at just so happened to also be the original mayor of Sydney, Nova Scotia. NS, home. The mayor of Sydney, Nova Scotia's home. This home is over 150
Great job
years
so
old.
far, Michael.
Thank you. Well, the NS was a little wink to the last episode where I was like,
And I was
NS
here.
stand for Nova Scotia? So
Weird.
I
right.
appreciate that, Wayne. This home is over 150 years old, and I would love to tell you that there is a known history for the home, but I haven't been able to find anything online. What I can tell you is that it is haunted. I mean, the home was also the only jail at the time in the late 1800s, but is now storage for restaurant bar supplies. You walk down to the basement, and you have to enter the original cells to grab what you need, and they still have the bar doors, the doors that are bars. That blah blah blah. Just die. Woo! I just die. That you need to open and grab what you need. Believe me when I tell you that this is unnerving enough when you close the bar at 3 a.m. and are by yourself restocking after a shift. So let's get to the good stuff. I had a shift one night that started at 5 p.m. and I was opening the upstairs pub when I came out of the keg room and caught a woman out of the corner of my eye at the top of the stairs who was waving at me. I had my hands full and began saying, "We're just opening, grab a seat wherever you like and I'll be right there with the menu." The place is dead silent, no music, no one else in the pub. And I put down what I had in my hands and grabbed a menu, came out from behind the bar, and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
Time-wise, this all took 5 seconds. I heard no footsteps leaving, and I walked down the stairs to where the hostess was and asked where the lady went off to. With a confused look on her face, she tells me that there hasn't been anyone in the restaurant yet. I told her the lady was just about the lady waving to me at the top of the stairs. How did you not see her? And again, she says that no one's been in yet. So with a confused look on my face, I went back to work. Now, I know this place has a history of high strangeness, so I kind of brushed it off. My shift ended, and I closed up the bar. The last two things I did every night before I locked up were check the doors and windows and also checking to make sure there's nobody else left in the building. Completed this, turned off the lights, and I locked up and headed to my car in the adjacent parking lot. I started my car and looked at the building when I noticed the lights were on in the upstairs pub. Now, at this point, I'm a little freaked out because I thought I remembered looking up the stairs and not having and seeing any lights on. But I go back into the building thinking I must have missed that light. I turn the light off and did another check out of the building to make sure that there wasn't something hiding in there. My check revealed nothing, so again, I locked up, I headed out to my car, and again looked at the building, and the fucking lights were on again. At that point, I said, screw that, and just went home, thinking to myself, if there was someone in there, they'd trip the alarm, and the cops could deal with it. The alarm never went off that night, and neither did the lights. On a side note, there was another bartender who closed one night that after locking up and getting into her car, her cell phone rang, and it was from inside the pub.
Oh.
What?
You would also hear footsteps here quite frequently in the carriage house out back.
Carriage house. Creepy. Classic ghost.
Creepy, classic pub ghost.
That was a
dude.
good pub ghost story right there. I like that one.
That's
a
a
lot.
good.
Totally.
When the phone rang, it said blah blah pub.
Yeah, I guess. It's just the number. That's weird, dude.
Now that you know the whole story, the absolute creepiest details is that woman waved.
I know, right? Well, I think she's like, hi, I need a drink, you know. I do like imagining she's just there going, hello. Yeah.
Watching
I pictured
him
it more the creepy wave where he
Yeah.
interpreted it as like, hey, I need a table, but the way you just waved.
Yeah,
is how
nice
I
and
see it.
I
creepy.
think she was like,
I'm a
now we
ghost.
meet. She's been meeting the other waiters there.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Fresh
Oh,
blood.
pub ghosts.
Hi.
Wow.
I believe that one 100%.
Yeah, it's
Really?
creepy.
Cool. Yeah. I'm that one freaks me out a little bit. I gotta be honest.
Except when you turned one written line into you read it as a line of dialogue. That was where it went unbelievable.
Well, he
When you
he
went,
wrote it that way, and he didn't put
when
quotes.
the hostess said, there hasn't been anyone in the restaurant yet tonight. Well, I know for a fact that she didn't say that.
Not like that.
Not like that.
There
Oh
hasn't
yeah,
been
you're right.
anyone-
That suddenly felt really weird to me, but that's
Yeah.
what it was because you turned.
Hey,
it into
what's
dialogue.
going on? Where's that woman that was just there? Hasn't been anyone in the restaurant.
In fact, no one's been in here in
Well,
5
I almost
years.
went, there hasn't been anyone here for 25 years, but I stopped myself. Before we leave, we got some Patreon shout outs. I want to thank everybody who's subscribed and supported us over the Patreon. So here we go. Grant Wilson, thank you. Melina Colomas, thank you. Thank you, Melina, friend of mine. Melissa Spangle, thank you. Nikki Nathanvong, thank you. Martin Galvin, thank you. Sarah Smith, thank you. Stephen Combs, thank you. Austin James Pierce, thank you. Troy Kane, thank you so much. Carolyn Chow, thank you. Renee Lemos, thank you. Troy Kane, he bumped up to $5 this
Good
month.
for
Thank
you,
you so
Troy.
much.
Right on.
Must
Once
be
again,
nice.
once again is bonus materials. Mitzi, thank you, and Rose Wallace, thank you. And also there was a someone. What did I say? Dr. Seducto? Was there a Dr.
Dr.
Seducto?
Seducto. I don't think that was it.
I think it
I think it actually was.
His name
Dr.
was
Seduce.
Dr. Seduce.
Dr.
Yeah.
Seducto.
I like
God.
Dr. Seduce.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Has a better ring
Of
to
course,
it.
Michael
Sure.
gave him the comic book version of this.
Like a sci-fi.
Copyright Michael McMillian, everybody. Dr. Seducto. That's my supervillain
The
name.
spin-off from Adventure Van.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
Anyway, thanks everybody for doing that. I want to thank Jen and I want to thank Kevin for joining us for another Mailbag
Big time.
L Files
Thanks, guys.
episode. And thank you to our listeners. We really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, we did get a voicemail. And our listener got cut off, and I'm sorry we didn't play the message you sent us over email because it was 15 minutes long. So just remember, if you we appreciate it. Call back in, see if you can make it 2 minutes long. You got to edit it down just a little bit, but please keep trying. And if you have a little thing, please call and leave a voicemail. But keep it tight. I know we ramble on this show, but we just don't have time to play all of those long messages. See if you can keep it just to 2-3 minutes, and we will put it on the show for sure.
He's talking about the only person that's ever
Yeah,
called.
I know. Now no one's going to do
Thank you
it.
so much for calling.
But thank you for calling. We do appreciate
On
it.
a side note,
I've
thank you
been
for
sitting
calling.
in
Yeah.
the studio just waiting by the phone.
But yeah,
night
just
after
trying
night.
to keep it tight. Tight. What do they say in the biz, Jen? A tight 5?
It's been so long since I've been at that level of comedy. Tight 5, tight 10,
Tight 10.
7.
Jen,
Everything's tight.
do you have anything to plug coming up?
Well, I'll be in Dallas performing in the February.
Great.
I'm starting to roll out some tour dates. So just go to my website.
Okay, JenKirkman.com. Get on the email list and you'll find out where she's at. Kevin, anything you want to share, plug? Anything?
To all my Dallas friends from growing up there, go see Jen Kirkman.
Nice.
So nice. You don't waste your plug on me. Don't waste your plug on me.
It's too late. They only give me one plug, and I used it for you.
It's like your one phone call from jail. Riley, any Spindrift dates coming up?
Well, sticking with the Dallas theme, we played there with two really awesome bands. One was called Pearl Earl. It was an all-girl band. They were awesome. Another one was called Acid Carousel. It was like a bunch of like 19, 20-year-olds just like losing their minds. Both excellent bands from the Dallas-Denton area. So check out those two bands.
Great. Awesome.
Cool. I just want to thank the people for writing in. We love reading your emails, and it forms a nice community for us here at the Bigfoot Collectors Club. So thank you.
And I'll put the voicemail number up on the show notes. Thank you guys. And again, Adventure Van issue 4 comes out today. Just try the Comixology app if your comic shop does not carry it. And issue 5 comes out at the end of December. So please check those out. And Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. What's the number?
It's 310-597-4803.
310-597-4803.
It's a Beverly Hills extension.
Ooh,
that's right.
Fancy.
We're
Beverly Hills
boys.
Ghost.
Fancy boys living in Beverly Hills. All right, cool. We're going to actually keep Kevin to do a little bonus thing that we'll also put up on the Patreon. Kevin, you don't know about this, but it'll be real fun. You've never played Bullshit or Believe It, so you're going to play that with us, and we'll put that up as a bonus thing. And if you want to check out my story about my weird Thanksgiving photos, that will also be up. If not today, it'll be this week. Yeah, check that out. Thanks, everybody.
Cool.
We'll see you next week here on the
ya.
Bigfoot Collectors Club. We're waving goodbye.
Bye.
Like
From
a
the
good
top of the
pug
stairs. Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray. Our theme song is Come Alone by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. If you like the show, please rate and review us on iTunes. It really helps get the podcast to more listeners. To support the show, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club and unlock multiple reward episodes every month.